Should regret be considered rape? Is it possible, or is it okay to withdraw your own decision to give consent to an action after that action happened? This is how feminism is trying to define rape. I mean, feminists love to parrot rape statistics that are usually false, and they love to talk about rape as being like part of the patriarchy, and it's a huge problem. And I will admit, rape is a huge problem, but so is every other crime. Redefining rape to mean you can withdraw your consent, regret. Basically, you regret the action, so you can withdraw your consent post-action, is one of the most idiotic ideas offered I've ever heard. And I'm someone who opposes like creationism. So I hear idiotic ideas proposed all the time, and that takes the cake for the most idiotic. Let me give you a hypothetical to kind of illustrate what is wrong with the ability to withdraw consent after the action. Let's say I have a what's kind of a, I don't know, like a Toyota Camry, but like a really old Toyota Camry that has gotten through, a couple minor accidents. I've had to get repairs on it constantly. I even bought it from someone else. I didn't buy it new. Let's just say I own one of those cars. So because of damages and because of having to constantly fix it, my car is valued at maybe $200. I figure that if I'm going to sell a car, I need more than $200, or it's just not worth it. So I say, fuck it. I go on Craigslist and I leave a post saying, here's this car, post a picture of it. It's free for the first person to show up at my place tomorrow. And I give my address. The next day, people start showing up, and the first person that shows up, I say, are you here for the car? He's like, yeah. So I give him the keys, do everything needed to transfer ownership. I've never bought or sold a used car, so I don't know what all you need to do. But I basically transfer everything that needs to be transferred in order for him to have full ownership of the car, and he takes off. Bye-bye car. Now, it would be understandable if an hour or two later, I call the guy and I say, hey, I made a huge mistake, can I get the car back? It'd be understandable, but there is no crime being committed there if he doesn't want to give the car back. Because I gave it to him. It's his. It's his car. He has ownership. But the next day, I don't call. I give him the car. He drives off. End of story. Well, end of that day. The next day, I get a call from my, let's say I have a son. And my son is moving. He has his own place and he's moving, and he really needs another car to put some stuff into. He has people helping, but he doesn't have the space to transport the furniture and stuff. So he needs another car to put some stuff in so he can transport like everything all in one trip. And he needs it pretty badly because it's a long drive. So he calls me and he says, can I, hey, that old crappy Camry you have? Is there any chance I could snag that off you so that we could get this move easier? And I'm like, oh shit, sorry. I just gave that car away. And then because my son called, I'm like, you know what? I regret giving my car away. So therefore, I dial 911, report that car stolen, and that guy gets thrown in jail. Is that moral? Now, the only difference I see in this case, well, aside from the fact that rape and selling a car are two entirely different things, well, actually consensual sex, not rape, and selling a car are two different things. The only difference I see is the ability to take it back. Let's say I call a guy the next day and say, hey, could I get it back? He's like, yeah. He can give the car back, no harm done. With sex, it's not the case. Once the action has happened, it's happened. It's done. You can't take it back. And so the guy's literally screwed. I hope you can make the connection between the story I just gave and what is wrong with this idea of regret for rape. I already think the definition of rape is way too broad. It needs to be concise so there's no ambiguity about rape. They do need to work on being able to prove rape a lot easier. Spending more money and research and improved rape kits or something along those lines. But it's already too broad, and that is insane. To withdraw consent after an action. I can't believe people actually buy into this shit. And it's not a couple people. I've seen this a lot from pretty powerful, and by powerful I mean they have a lot of followers, pretty powerful feminists. This is why we need a stronger definition of rape. And actually, I'm kind of segueing into a different video here, but what should rape be defined as? Now, I actually used to have a more broad definition of how I thought rape should be, up until I talked to my girlfriend. Yes, my girlfriend actually changed my opinion on what rape should be so that it's stricter, it's tighter. Sorry for the poor language use there. Basically, less cases would be considered rape. So currently rape has to do with consent, giving consent, and I, agree you should be able to give consent. But consent isn't always, number one, I don't think consent should be, do you want to have sex with me? Yes. Is it okay if I do this? Yes. Consent should be not opposing, for one. For two, moving things further yourself. So, like a girl pushing things further when you're fooling around. But it has to do with consent. So what about if a girl has sex with a guy, supposedly consensual, she doesn't say anything, she doesn't say no. She doesn't try to push him off her. She just goes along with it. She has sex with him. And it turns out she was upset the whole time. She didn't want to have rape. She didn't want to have rape. She didn't want to have sex. But she didn't say anything. She just let him have sex with her. And she went along with it. Is that rape? In my opinion, flat out, no. And here's why. Unless he did something that actually inhibited you from being able to say no or restrict his, or attempt to force him off you, if he restricted that, that'd be rape. But you have the ability to say no and to make it apparent that you don't want to have sex. And it is on you. Because I've actually seen women who are anti-feminists say, if they were fooling around with a guy and he was like, he just stops and he's like, is it okay if I have sex with you? They would put their clothes on and just walk right out of the room because it's a mood killer. You need to understand how sex actually works. I'm sorry that this video will seem kind of weird, seem kind of, I don't know, out of context almost. But it's something that I've just been thinking about, and I couldn't really think of a way to go at this very easily. I just wanted to get that out there, the idea that regret is not rape. I mean, that's just absurd. Anyone with half a brain could realize how absurd regret, withdrawing consent after the action is. And then the idea of, loose rape laws, broad rape laws. I hate loose and tight, kind of bad terminology for what we're talking about. But I just want to talk about that. And if this seemed like a shitty video to you, go ahead and dislike. I don't care. I just wanted to get this out. This is something that's been nagging at me because I've seen it a lot and it bothers me. But I do want to know your guys' opinions on this because, I'm an open-minded person. I'm a skeptic, but I'm open-minded. If you present me with an actual piece of good evidence for either one of the topics that I talked about that opposes me, I'll be more than happy to listen. If you did like the video, be sure to share. Also down in the description is a link to my Patreon. Currently I have one donor, one patron at the time of this video, but if you want to help me out, if you want me to get, better gear, make better videos, make videos more often, go ahead and, pledge some money to my Patreon. There are some rewards on there if you want to, reap some of the benefits. So not only help me out, but get something in return. But if not, just pledge like $1 a month. That's $12 a year just for me to make videos. And that helps out a lot. A $1 donation is really awesome. Anything more is just unbelievably awesome. And anything less, perfectly fine too. If you donate even a cent, I don't know if it's possible, but if you donate a cent, you're awesome. Thank you. But that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe.